Welcome to my 4-part coaching series, which is meant for interior designers who are looking to level up their business and create a structure that is 100% going to generate successful results. So if that's you, then take out your notebook, save this playlist, and keep on watching. A little intro about myself. My name is Sarah Adnan, the founder and creative director of Elevated Living, and I make a ton of videos on this channel to help you get started on your interior design journey. Part 1 of this series is going to cover my 4-step process for a successful design consultation. This has been tried and tested, and I can guarantee you that ever since I started implementing this process into my own design consultations, I have definitely been able to close a lot more leads and prospects that have been coming my way. Step number 1, if someone reaches out to you, whether it's through Instagram, through your website, the first thing that you need to do is book a discovery call with this prospect. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's your friend, doesn't matter if it's your neighbor, or if it's someone who's just been following you on Instagram for a very long time and is finally ready to make that jump and hire you as a designer, you need to book a discovery call with them. What is a discovery call? Basically, it is a 30 to 1 hour long conversation that you have with this lead before you get anything started to really understand why they're reaching out to you, what is the scope of work that they're trying to achieve, and also understanding if this is the first time that they are ever working with a designer. This really gives you a better picture on whether they're familiar with what the design industry is like, whether they're familiar with the budgets that are needed in order to execute a beautiful design that they usually see on Pinterest. You also want to understand very clearly what the scope of work is going to be, because this is going to help you educate your client and say, I provide X, Y, and Z service. I do not provide A, B, and C service. So if that is what you're looking for, then maybe this is not the right fit for us. So these are all of the questions that you really want to get out of your client through this 30-minute, and it should be, in my opinion, free, because again, you're just trying to get to know the client so that you are better able to provide them a valuable service and also set a good impression that you know what you're talking about. Step 2, let's say that your discovery call went extremely well and you're super excited to actually move forward with the consultation. Just remember, the discovery call is not the same as a design consultation. The discovery call, just to reiterate, is really understanding your client and what their needs and wants are. The design consultation is the actual service that you're going to provide to them should you wish to proceed with this client. So how do you get yourself prepared for this day? You need to make sure that you have, first and foremost, a welcome package ready to give to your client. What this welcome package entails is a list of all of your services with a really clear explanation of how they work, along with your prices, and also some portfolio images of the stuff that you've worked on. So you're really trying to put together this beautiful package to your client and say, this is what it looks like if you were to hire me after this consultation. It makes it seem as if you have a process in place and that this is just part of the paperwork that you do when you're actually leaving the client's house. The other thing that I like to do to prepare myself for the consultation is gather a bunch of inspiration, ideas, and samples. Remember, in that call, we asked them all these bunch of questions. Well, that is what's going to help you prepare. You want to gather samples that are relevant to your client's tastes. Maybe they've explained to you that they really like color, so you want to go into your sample inventory, pick out some nice fabrics, things that you might think that your client will like when you go actually visit them at their house. If you are a beginner designer and are wondering, well, I don't have a sample inventory, where do I go to get one? Well, it's very easy, and I've covered that in part 3 of this series. The reason why I like to do this little exercise before I go to the client's house for the consultation is because it not only helps me gather my thought process so that when I show up, I'm not frazzled and getting overwhelmed with all of the questions that are being thrown at me, but it's also really good in positioning yourself that you came to their house fully prepared to share ideas, because that is what you are doing as a designer, designer, and you are there to really help them achieve their end destination, their final goal, which is to get a beautiful space of their home. Step 3. Now this step, some people may not agree with me, but I am a firm believer of this. You must get paid for your consultations. I always establish that at the discovery call that my consultations usually last between an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many rooms they're looking to get covered. So as designers, our intellectual property is our creative thought process, right? We go to school for this. We learn color theory, we learn scale and balance, we learn the different principles that come in design. It's all stuff that you should be getting compensated for. I always make sure that even before I get to my client's house, I prepare a formal invoice and I send it to them before the consultation happens, so that they know that this invoice needs to be paid in full before any consultation begins. So now the invoice is paid, the calendar invite is sent, the sample inventory is gathered, and you're on your way to the client's house for the consultation. Now this 4th step to ensure that you have a successful time with your client is making sure that as soon as you enter their house, you introduce yourself in a professional way and you set the agenda from the very beginning. Most of the time what happens is the client gets super excited that there's a designer coming into their house and they can't wait to show them every inch and corner of their house, even though the scope of work only includes the bathroom and the main living room. And that's totally fine. Clients get super excited, right? So it is your responsibility to walk in and really command that room and politely remind the client that, you know, our time for today is booked for 2 hours and the goal and priority is for us to get to the spaces that you have mentioned you need help with. I've brought in some samples with me. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk about some inspiration. I'm going to show you what I would do. And if we have time left over, then of course we can look at the other spaces that you are looking to do, maybe not now, but in the future. And lastly, as you're getting ready to leave the consultation, make sure you give them your welcome package, because not only is it a physical, tangible item that you're leaving with the client, it's also reminding them that they wanted to go ahead with you. All of the information provided is there, all of your contact information is there, and that the process can be very seamless and easy when the time comes. That was it for part 1 on how to lead a successful design consultation. Stay tuned for part 2, where we will talk about my 3 golden rules on how to ensure a successful client-designer relationship. Bye-bye.